Welcome to our last day of our Corona Yoga series together. I hope at whatever point you're taking this class, that somewhere within these series you have found a practice, a release, an honesty, or a truth that you have needed during this time. Today will be a modge podge of a little bit of everything, and I'm very excited to share with you my favorite poem ever. I heard it in one of my first yoga classes I ever took, and I've carried it with me ever since. Just the greatest. So you're welcome to begin sitting down or laying on your back. The poem is a bit lengthy, so find yourself in any position where you can lay and breathe for a while. And it's called The Invitation by Oriah the Mountain Dreamer. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, or if you've been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own. You can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. If you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it is not pretty every day, and if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand at the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. I truly feel like you could design a yoga class around any stanza of that poem, any line. If anyone stuck out to you, breathe it in. If you can't remember any of them, just be with the energy that the poem has left in your body. Finding what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. This is one of those poems that cuts right to the heart of the challenges that we face during this virus, during staying home. Who we are, what work we do, so many parts of our identity have been stripped away. And the invitation is for us to find what's still left there. Maybe, just maybe, see that it's more beautiful than we'd ever imagined. Wherever you are, make your way onto your back and hug your knees into your chest. And taking an easy roll side to side or front to back on your spine. And cross the right leg over the left. Drop the legs down to the left. Scoot the hips a little bit more towards the right. Arms open towards a T or a cactus position. You can place right fingertips on right shoulder if the right shoulder feels too strained. And drop into your body, into this never-ending home, into this cave you carry around with you, picking up pieces of your day and storing them there. On a breath in, bring the legs back up towards the center, switching sides. Cross left leg over right. Scoop the hips to the left. Drop the legs the other way. Breathing into everything that's present with you right now. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. And some days lately it may feel like there's more bad than good. Our practice here isn't to ignore that or just try to get the good. It's to honor the bad. To acknowledge it, to say hello. Yes, I see you. And to stand in the center of the fire, as Oriah says, and not shrink back. Inhaling, legs come back up towards the center. Place your feet on the ground. Hands come down towards your sides, palms face up. Curl the tailbone under and roll up one vertebrae at a time. On an exhale, roll down halfway. Inhale, roll up halfway towards a bridge. And exhale, back on down. Inhale, roll up all the way. Exhale, halfway down. Taking a few more, really press your upper and middle back into the ground. Maybe even getting a little bit of massage as you pour more weight into those vertebrae. One more time, rising on up. And exhale, lowering on down. Stretch your arms long, stretch your legs long. Cross your hands and cross your ankles and shift hands and ankles towards one side of the mat so you're in a little crescent moon position. And breathing into the sides of the body, letting the face be soft, alert, accepting. On your next breath out, switch to the opposite side. Crescent moon towards the other side. Reading the story of your body as your breath explores it. Where have you been holding tension? What's been overworking? What's been waiting for you to fire it up? Coming back towards the center, roll yourself on over to your belly, and scooting back onto your mat. And take the hands wider than your mat, tenting the fingertips. Pressing the feet down, rooting the pubic bone down, curl up on a breath in. Exhale, release it down. And take about 4 more with your own breath here. And seeing how much room you can make between your ears and your shoulders. And on your next exhale, press back through all fours, finding child's pose. Knees wide or together, forehead to the ground. Accepting yourself just as you are. A friend yesterday told me she was afraid to join for my yoga classes because she was afraid of what she would find there, what truth might be there. But I say we're here to find everything. Even if it means we need to lay on our back and cry for the rest of the practice. That's the point. We are here together, and you are enough. Inhaling, make your way through all fours, finding a few rounds of cat-cow. Inhaling to expand, broaden, grow the chest. And exhaling to press hands and shin down and curl everything in on itself, looking towards your belly button. Finding your own rhythm here. Reach the right foot back behind you, pressing through that heel, toes are on the ground. Stack right hip on top of the left, right arm peels to the sky. I'm feeling very stretchy today, so I'm going to reach my right hand towards the top of the mat. If you're feeling more like activating and strength, lift up through that back leg. Fire up your gluteus medius, those beautiful hip stabilizers in you. And breathe into everything that is here. The love, the fear, the good, the bad. Exhale, hand down, knee down. Left leg reaches back behind you, toes on the ground, press back through the heel. Roll left hip on top of right, left arm peels up to the sky. Finding whatever expression of this pose that feels good for you. Moving the arm, lifting the leg or not. Exhale, bring your hand down, knee down. Tucking those toes under, lift just your knees off the ground. Send your heels back a tiny bit and imagine that you're spreading your sit bones back behind you. Now imagine your inner thighs are trying to rotate down and back behind you. With that action, begin to transfer your weight back to your legs, coming into a bent leg down dog here. Finding a few breaths in the nose, out the mouth, maybe letting out a sigh or a sound with your breaths. Beginning to kick the legs towards straight if that feels okay for you. And touch one heel towards the ground, then the other heel. Slowly walk your feet to the front of your mat, hanging heavy for a forward fold, Uttanasana. Grab onto opposite elbows here. Easy sway, front, back, side, side, figure eights. Whatever your body's asking of you here. Inhale, rise on up one vertebrae at a time. Arms circle, gathering the sky on a breath in. Exhale, hands down to your heart. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Grab onto the left wrist, reach up and over towards the right. Option to take that left leg and step it back behind you here. I'll face the camera to show it for an even deeper opening in that left side. Play with allowing your shoulders to come up towards your ears and then pressing them down and back behind you. And find somewhere within that feels nice to you, free, like you could breathe better. And come back up towards the center. Inhale, arms back overhead. Grabbing onto the right wrist, reach up and over towards the left. Right leg can step back behind you. And finding fascination in all the sensations held in different parts, different caves of your body. Like each day, a scavenger hunt for you to uncover inside of you. Coming back to standing. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, hands through the heart, fold down one vertebrae at a time, hands towards the ground. Little bend in the knees, lift up halfway. And on an exhale, step the left foot back, coming into a high lunge, arms rise up overhead. Imagine you're sending the right sit bone towards the back of your mat, twist towards the right hand side. Maybe you take a little bend in that back knee, finding a little pulse here. Moving it towards bending and straightening. Right hand comes to the outer left thigh. Inhale, reach left arm to the sky. On an exhale, as slow as you came into it, bring your hands down towards plank position. Step the right foot back, top of a push-up plank pose, lowering the knees down here if you need to. Now imagine your armpits are trying to reach down and back towards your hips. It's feeling almost of your scapula, your shoulder blades, just parking themselves down and back on the spine. On a breath out, as slow as you can, lower all the way down. Inhale, cobra pose. Feel the hands trying to drag backwards. And exhale, release. Pressing back through all fours or plank position, downward facing dog. 5 breaths here. Listening to the energy of your body here. Do you need to fire things up and stay in this down dog, or do you need a child's pose? Yoga is nothing other than a practice of learning what's hidden inside of ourselves. And yes, sometimes that feels like sorting through all of our poop, but many times that leads to finding something beneath all that darkness. As Oriah said, something that sustains us from the inside when all else falls away. So trust the process here. Inhale, lift the heels up. Exhale, walk the feet forward, Uttanasana. Lifting up halfway on a breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms circle to the sky, lifting up, Utkatasana. Exhale your hands down to your heart. Bending your knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. Holding here. Feeling the crown of the head and the tail grow long and in opposite diagonals from each other. Notice if you're trying to reach further with your ribs closing down the back of your heart, keep the back of your heart open too by softening your ribs in towards each other. They say the front of the heart is where we support ourselves, but the back of the heart, that's where our community supports us. So keep the back of the heart open too. Torso comes parallel towards the ground. Step the right leg back, coming into a high lunge. Arms rise on up. Maybe taking a bend and straighten that back leg. Twisting towards the left. One arm reaches forward, one arm towards the back. If you're not feeling that with your shoulders, just bring the hands behind the head. Practice rotating more through the mid-back, the ribs. Inhale, arms lift up towards the sky. Exhale back to that twist because we need to bring our left hand to the right thigh. And inhale, side bend towards the back wall. With as slow of movement as you can muster, frame your front foot, step back, top of a plank. Option to take a chaturanga dandasana or lower all the way to the ground for cobra pose. 5 breaths in down dog. And giving yourself whatever you need here. Child's pose, jumping dogs, or just down dog. From down dog, left leg lifts back, 3-legged dog. Bend the knees, stack the left hip on top of the right here. See if you can keep both armpits equally facing the ground by pressing down a little more into that left hand. Roll out the left ankle to the left and to the right. And on an exhale, step that leg forwards. Warrior 1. Finding a position of your feet that feel good for your hips here, not forcing anything. I like to have my legs almost like I'm just taking a step, so they're that far apart. Bring your hands onto your ribs and rotate your ribs, not your hips, towards the front of your mat. Arms just extend up as an extension of the ribs here. Exhaling, airplane arms. Inhale, rise back on up. Exhale, airplane arms, torso parallel towards the ground. Inhale, rise on up. Exhale, bring your hands to the ground. Lower your back knee down and reach back for a thigh stretch with that left arm. Always option to bring the left hand under the left thigh and reach back with the opposite arm instead, if your hips are a little tighter. Or to use a sweatshirt or a strap to grab that back leg for you. Releasing that thigh, tuck the back toes under, 2 straight legs, Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. Peel the front toes up away from the ground, and then bring the toe back to the ground. Taking a few like that, playing with gliding that sciatic nerve to the back of the leg, if it feels like it's right for you. Bending into that front leg, step back, top of a push-up. Find your vinyasa flow here or meet back for downward facing dog. From down dog, right leg lifts up and back, breathing in. And bend the knee, stack the hip. Likely your right armpit open towards the right side of your mat. Can you press it back to the ground, pressing down into the right hand a little more. Roll out the right ankle in one direction. And then the other. And step the right leg through warrior one. That back foot is at about a 45-degree angle. You said it in classes before, but it's more warrior 1.5, where your hips are facing towards the left side or left front of the mat, but your ribs rotate towards the front. And press down through the outer edge of the back foot and see if that changes anything in your back hip for you. On an exhale, airplane arms, torso parallel to the ground. 2 more times. Breathing in, lifting up. And exhaling, folding forwards. Imagining this as a bow or a curtsy to yourself, to your efforts, to the practice and for you showing up in it. And this time, both hands come to the ground. Bring the back knee down, reach right hand back for that foot. Finding any sort of thigh stretch that works for you here. Again, right hand can be on the front leg. You could stay a little lifted. Or you could always grab a sweatshirt or a strap and just hook it around that leg in case your arm does not reach the foot. Inviting that breath back in. Back in to clear away the cobwebs of the emotions that you face here. Straightening both legs, tuck the back toes under, Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. Lifting up the front toes and then placing them back down. Exhale, step the back foot forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold it forwards, bending those knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. Hands come down into your heart. Twist towards the right hand side, outer arm to outer thigh, or just staying risen up here. Feeling like your legs are trying to press out against your hands here if you don't have that arm on that leg. Begin to transfer your weight onto your right leg and then back towards the middle. Again, towards that right leg, and back towards the middle. This time, transfer it towards your right leg. Lift the left leg up and see if you could step it back towards a lunge. My balance is horrendous today, but maybe yours is wonderful. Finding a revolved lunge here. And on a breath in, arms reach up to the sky, opening up for warrior 2 on the right hand side. Finding an action in your legs that serves you here. Maybe you're pressing the feet down and away from each other because that helps you feel like you're opening up that tailbone you've been sitting on all day. Maybe you engage the legs towards each other because it helps you activate that pelvic floor that you've been ignoring all day. There are no rules for your muscles. There are simply different adventures you can take with them. Exhaling, hands to the ground, finding a vinyasa or down dog. Eventually all meeting in down dog. On a breath in, rising up onto the toes. Exhaling, jump or step your feet forward. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhale, fold it forwards, Utkatasana, chair pose. Peeling open the front and back of the heart. Hands come down into the heart, prayer position. Lift up through the sides of the waist before exhaling, turning towards the left. Staying risen here, watching the alignment of those knees or bringing outer arm towards outer thigh. Feel like the legs are trying to press out against two hands. Begin to transfer the weight to the left foot and back towards the center. Over to the left, maybe lifting up the heel, back to the center. This time, transfer the weight all the way to the left, lifting up that right leg. Begin to slide it back behind you towards a lunge, coming into a revolved lunge here. You can always stay risen up with those arms reaching forward and back like earlier. Inhale, we open up warrior two on the left-hand side. Seeing if you could reach forwards as much as you extend backwards here. Inhale, rise on up, straightening the left leg. Turn all 10 toes to the right side of the mat. Clasp the hands behind the back. They don't reach each other. You could bring two fists to touch here, or take reverse prayer, reverse namaste with those arms. Inhale, lift up through the back, front of the heart. And exhale, fold it forwards. So many ways to sweep the temple of your body. Just following your breath in your body. Just allowing what emotions come up to be there. Perhaps just finding a little smile for the health of your body, the ability of your body to move, to lengthen, to breathe in this moment, in this moment, in this moment. Releasing the hands, rise back on up. Turn the left toes out, finding triangle pose on the left-hand side. If you've been with me any of these 30 days, you've heard triangle pose explained to you before. Once people come to my classes enough, I stop instructing poses and I just instruct explorations. So to you here now, can you explore your triangle pose? Can you bend one leg or the other, or move one arm or head or belly or chest? And just find something you hadn't known before within you. In these more monotonous days of staying home, anything new and interesting we can find can really change our whole day. Imagine if you did that every day in your body. How you might feel new or hopeful. Inhale, rise back on up, long in both sides of the waist. Turn the left toes in, right toes out. Explore your way down into triangle pose on the right. Maybe making circles with your right arm as you bring it down towards the ground. Or maybe extending right arm out away in front of your body before lowering down. Maybe you just let your head relax in a way it's been wanting to do all day. And I invite you to make the ugliest triangle pose you could possibly make in your body. And notice if it feels good to stop trying to be so perfect. I invite you to open your heart as much as you can in this triangle pose. Notice if it feels good to invite yourself towards love and opening. We all need something different every day, so find it for you. Inhale, rise back on up. Turn the right toes in. Once again, clasp the hands behind the back in any way that serves you. And exhale, we fold it forwards. Little bend in the left leg. Switch it over, a little bend in the right leg. Taking a little lunge side to side. Releasing the hands down, toe heel the feet a little bit closer together. Heels in, toes out, squatting down, Malasana. Time to release your pelvic floor muscles here. I had somebody texting me, asking me what they can do for those hypertonic pelvic floor muscles, those muscles that stop the flow of urine, but also just can't seem to let go for other things in life. So let's see if here we can imagine that we're just trying to lengthen and release those muscles towards the ground. Much like you'd reach the crown of your head up, we're trying to reach those muscles down towards the ground. And close your eyes so you could feel what's going on inside of you a little better. Notice, have you been squeezing your bum tight this entire time? And can you just let it relax a little bit here? Is that necessary for movement? A lot of times we learn to grasp and then we can't stop doing it. We just keep doing it and keep doing it without realizing that sometimes just a little bit of effort is just enough. It's like during this quarantine, you don't need to spend every day bettering yourself, learning new tasks or hobbies, what have you. Maybe you could just find a moment every day. Maybe you look at the stars, the sky, and you lengthen your pelvic floor muscles for a moment. Maybe those little moments change things. Release the hands to the ground, straighten the legs, turn the toes forwards. Place your hands underneath your feet. Maybe bending your knees if you need to here. If you're more flexible in the back of the legs, bring them towards straight. And shake the head no. Nod the head yes. And decide on something you are saying yes to. Releasing the hands, slowly roll up to standing. Coming to face the front of your mat or anywhere you really like. And bending that right knee, reaching back for the right foot. Natyarajasana, dancer's pose. My favorite pose. Could never do a last class without it. And kick that hand into the leg and reach the leg as far back as you reach forward with the front arm. You become one long bow. And extends not just in your back body, but also the front of your body. Rising back on up. Cross the right shin on top of left thigh, figure four chair. You could extend the arms up if you want a little more strength here. I'm feeling beautifully sore, so I'm going to bring the fingertips towards the ground and fold forwards. towards more of a passive figure 4 stretch here. Always option to take the arm balance that we've been practicing together here as well. Releasing the right leg down. Lift up halfway, inhaling. Exhale, fold it forwards. Long spine reaches on up, inhaling. Exhale, hands down to your heart. Dancer's pose on the other side. Reaching back for the inner edge of that left foot. I know you've been in class before, so I know you could take any version of this pose that suits you. It's a single-legged balance pose where a quadricep hip opening is offered. You can come as much or as little into that as your body and you feel like. Whenever you're ready to come out of it the same way you came in, find a figure 4 chair or fold forwards on that left side, left shin crossing on top of right thigh. Maybe you check back in with your bum here. Are you clenching it without really knowing it? And exhale, release your foot. Toe heel your feet wider than hip distance, heels in, toes out. Malasana once again. Hands into your heart. And closing your eyes here. Imagining those pelvic floor muscles lengthening down and away from you. The crown of the head lifting up towards the sky. Other yoga classes will tell you to pull in this muscle, Mula Bandha, root lock, belly lock. And while that is beautiful, we tend to overtrain that in a lot of our yoga, Pilates, exercise classes. So see if maybe releasing it does something for you. If you're like, I still don't know if I'm releasing it, try to pull on your pelvic floor like you're trying to stop the flow of urine, like you have to go to the bathroom right now, and then just release that. I promise you, you won't go to the bathroom. Okay. Come take a seat down on your booty and reach the left leg out in front of you for Janu Shirshasana. Right foot comes to the inseam of the left leg. Inhale, arms lift up. Exhale, heart reaches forward, folding over that front leg. Sometimes forward folds don't feel the best for people with low back pain, so maybe you keep a long spine and you work on the strength of your spine and extension here. Maybe what your body really needs is just a full release forwards. Play with the playground inside of you. Be your own teacher, your own doctor. Rolling back on up. Bring the right heel towards the right sit bone, tucking it on in. Some people are like, what are you talking about? That's never going to happen for me. You could always just bring it forwards a little bit. Maybe place a blanket or a block underneath your upper thigh. Our goal here is to just come into a side bend. So that leg can also extend out to the side if it doesn't feel very good tucked in. I personally love how it feels. It feels safe and grounding that foot down. Find what's available for your body. And see if you could send breath where it's needed. Where some little spot inside of you is crying out. Inhale, rise on up. Bring the left leg in, straighten the right leg out. I'm facing towards the back of my mat here. You're probably still facing towards the front. It doesn't really matter. Janu Shirshasana, arms lift up towards the sky. Exhale, we fold towards a hamstring, back of the leg stretch here. Another option is you could always do this laying on your back. And so many ways to get to know your body. And so we come, or I come, perhaps you, to our yoga mats for an exploration. To find out the truth of what's really here. But also to find a deeper truth of who we really are. When we close our eyes and tune into our breath and our identities as we know them are stripped away. What power, what strength, what love lies behind there. Rising on up. Left heel towards the left booty. Right hand towards the right leg. Finding any version of this half straddle or taking a full straddle if you like here. Goal being to just begin to open into the left side of the body. And invitations earlier in my class always apply here. So feel free to make this as ugly as you want. And see if that's what your body really needed. Or as open-hearted as you want. And see if that's what your body, your mind really needed. Inhaling, rise back on up. And I'd like to do a beautiful thigh opener here. It'll probably be too intense for quite a few people, but I have never offered it in class yet, so I'd like to today. Options you can do instead of it is simply side lying and just reaching back and coming into this thigh stretch here, or coming onto your belly for a thigh stretch here. But we will come into a kneeling position and sit our bum in Virasana right down in between our heels. And slowly bringing our weight back. Maybe you just come here, and this is about as much opening you can take in your thighs. Maybe you bring the forearms to the ground, bringing the hands towards the arches, and maybe you lay all the way back. Chest lifted, you'll feel a little bit less intense. As you start to lower your chest down, you might feel more intense. Just finding some type of quadriceps stretch here that works for your body, that meets you on your edge without forcing you. You can play with tucking your tailbone down towards your heels. I'm not a big tuck the tailbone person, but in this position, that simply helps us get more opening in our rectus femoris, that quadriceps muscle down the front of our thigh. And places our pelvis in a more neutral position. Arms can come over the head, clasping opposite elbows. To bring in the lats, the quadratus lumborum, so many beautiful parts that attach to your hips, your spine, up to your upper body. And we'll come out of this the same way we got in, coming back up onto the elbows, the forearms, the hands. and untucking the legs. Find a reverse tabletop position. Legs can either be straight. I like to take them bent, feet on the floor. Peeling up, front of the hips, lift towards a tabletop position. Fingers point towards the heels. My neck doesn't have the most stability, so I keep my chin tucked. Always option to drop the head back. Exhale, release those hips down. Bringing the legs into Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose, that little butterfly position. Bring your hands to the bottom of your feet and just give your arches a little bit of a massage, pressing the pad of your thumb into the arch of your foot. And 2 days ago, we did a whole little session on foot love. So if you remember that, maybe you take your fingers and send them in between each of your toes. And then as you're ready, fold forwards over your legs, either keeping a long spine here because that's what feels best, or because you've never tried it, or folding forwards over those legs. And keep a light pressure of the pinky toe edge of the foot in towards itself. Inhale, rise back on up. Straightening your legs out in front of you, 2 straight legs, folding forwards, Paschimottanasana. If you're sick of forward folds, you can come onto your back and lift your legs up towards the sky instead for just a passive inversion here. 2 options. I'm feeling forward folds today for once. Slowly, we'll all make our way down onto our back. Either just plopping down or rolling down one vertebrae at a time as best you can. And hugging those legs into the chest, finding happy baby pose. Grab under the thighs or outer edge of the feet. And take a few belly breaths here. Invitation to let out any noises, sighs, ums, any sound you need on your exhales here. Find any last pose that your body's asking of you here before releasing down into your final pose for today, Shavasana. If it feels like you need to take care of yourself a little more here, place one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. And tenderly find patience for yourself. Relax into the knowledge that you are enough. When your identity, your daily life as you know it is stripped away, You have everything you need right here inside of you. Because inside of you is something that's inside of me and is inside of everyone. Know that that light is what connects every single one of us. So that we're never alone. I want to know if you can see beauty, even when it is not pretty every day. And if you can source your own life from its presence. It has been a joy to teach and practice and learn with the beauty in you. You're welcome to stay in Shavasana as long as you like. Marinate here. The love in me sees, honors, knows the love in you. Namaste.